terms of best practices, a lot is evolving. I will tell you that. You know, the different platforms that I'm seeing out there, people are sort of scrambling right now to figure out what's going to be the best practice for doing things online. But basically, when you think about virtual career fairs in general, you're going to prepare for them the same way you would an event that's happening in person. You're going to take that same basic approach as far as preparing, knowing how you want to present yourself. You're going to basically be doing your research prior to an event. You're going to want to make sure your resume and application materials are ready before this event. You're going to want to have your talking points ready. So we're going to talk a little bit about elevator pitch, and you're going to want to follow up. For the most part, I have to incorporate sort of the needs of employers with their virtual events. Some are requesting different types of follow-up than they normally would be able to, and it's just to the demand of what they're doing right now. But basically, when you think about any event that you're going to go into interacting with employers, you're going to want to prepare. And so in terms of what that looks like, let's talk career fairs. Let's say you see an event, maybe it's an info session, but most of the time you need to register. And it's nothing big. You're just going to go ahead in advance, provide your contact information. Folks want to know what they can expect in terms of people participating. So at a minimum, you might create a profile and upload your resume. Some may ask you to take another step to verify your email. So when it comes to the registration process, I don't want anyone to not participate in an info session because they feel they're not super prepared. But when we talk about a fair, make sure you do that ahead of time with that registration, just so you can take any additional steps that they may want you to do to opt in. There are some platforms that may be hosting many events. So they may have a number of career fairs. And what they'll want you to do is you'll set up your profile, upload a resume, and then you'll select, here's the event I want to participate in. You may also have an opportunity to record your elevator pitch. So that's why it's so important to have that ready ahead of time. Some might let you include a cover letter, but that's not the norm. It depends from employer to employer. And then some will let you have different versions of your resume. So if you are attending a virtual career fair and there's a range of opportunities you're interested in, you can have sometimes up to 5 different versions of your resume targeted. So a lot of good stuff can come with these platforms. The best thing about them, though, is that the really good ones have tutorials. So you never have to worry, do I have to be super tech savvy with this stuff? You don't. In fact, I've gone through and I've looked at the products. The tutorials are fantastic. They bring you even through the registration phase if you feel that's going to be a problem. And they usually also have frequently asked question sections, so you can troubleshoot as you go. So don't ever feel you're going to be in over your head. For most folks, this is the first time that they're using the virtual platform. But you know, the companies that have been using virtual or online hiring, they're going to be quicker with this. But we're all pretty much in this together. So definitely get out of your comfort zone if you feel you're not sure if it's something you want to do or not. There's a lot of support within these platforms as it is. Okay, so in terms of preparing your resume, a lot of times what happens is you're setting up your profile, you're entering your information, you're uploading your resume, as I mentioned. Recruiters will review your resume in advance, often to determine if you're a good candidate for the position. So you want to make sure prior to registering, take some time, get that resume in order, make sure it's updated, make sure it's spotless, get it targeted for what you're looking for. We're available to do all of that help with the reviewing. So think about it proactively. In the event that as these increasing opportunities come online to job search and to connect with employers, just get the resume ready now, and then you'll never be stuck. You may see something pop up on a Wednesday afternoon saying, oh my gosh, there's a Friday event. I would love to be able to do this, but I don't have my resume ready. This is a great time just to be able to get things in order for that. definitely reach out to us if that's something that you're certainly ready to do. Now, the bigger portion of this after the resume is the research. So when you're going into these events, a lot of times they will have a list of participating organizations. So you'll get a chance to see who's attending. Sometimes the list is one that's growing all the time. So you want to check in just to see who are the people attending. But what you're looking for are openings that are going to fit your background and skills. And when you do your research ahead of time, you're going to be able to execute the process even better. This is just like an in-person fair. It's the same thing. It's just online. So three things will happen when you research organizations. When you're online, you're going to be able to show you're serious about your search. You're definitely going to be able to display your enthusiasm in working for an organization if you've done that research. And you're also going to be better able to articulate how you're a good fit for the position. So aside from registering, getting your resume ready, do your research. Elevator pitch, we talked about that. So there's definitely a platform out there that includes videos. Not all of them do, but you may have an opportunity to actually do a little recording of your elevator pitch to introduce yourself ahead of time with your profile. So what you're going to want to do is definitely think, what do they need to know about me in terms of my relevancy, the points about my qualifications, my traits, what do they need to know in a quick little video. It's a personal selling statement, so you want to make sure you're covering 4 key areas. You're going to talk about your strengths, your qualifications, why you're interested in the position, what you can bring to the position or the organization, and share how your skills and interests align with the needs of the employer. So let's use a specific example. There's a platform out there where folks are going to be able to register for a education career fair. They're going to set up a profile. They're going to upload their resume. And while it's not required, they can record an elevator pitch. The elevator pitch, clearly, knowing that it's looking for educators, you would target your talking points to what you're looking for in education, what you can bring in. If you are in a situation where there is no recorded elevator pitch, but you're going to be going into a platform and interacting with employers during that time, you're still going to have to introduce yourself. So you're still going to have to pull this information together. So it can be, certainly, it always needs to be relevant, but you know, don't hesitate providing a video if you have the opportunity. You can do some practice tries with it before you actually record and submit it. But remember, employers are using these things to try to determine who they want to meet with. So anything you can do to have a compelling presence will be helpful. And it's not hard once you know, here's the stuff that should be included. To help a little bit, I actually put together an elevator pitch. So let's take a look. It's a little bit on the long side, but I wanted to be able to give you a good example of what a strong elevator pitch should sound like. So I'll read it for you. Hello, my name is Sophia Student, and I am completing a marketing degree at Framingham State University. I'm interested in digital marketing and social media management, and have helped coordinate several successful fundraising events on campus for the March of Dimes. I've also honed my skills through my internship position as a digital marketing intern at BJ's Wholesale Club, where I conceptualized new messaging that would resonate with younger non-members. I enjoy applying my creativity, strong technical skills, and passion for innovation into my work, and look forward to transferring these same skills to your organization. That's a pretty powerful selling statement. She's including all the relevant information that is targeted to her goals. And this would be something great that you could record for an elevator pitch if the platform gives you that opportunity. Likewise, you could create the same thing for yourself. And when you're going in to a virtual event and have an opportunity to speak to somebody, you'll know exactly, here's the content that they need, and here's about how long it should sound and what it should include. We're going to talk in a little bit about the different types of fairs, so I can share with you what you can expect. But here's another pre-event task you need to do. You're always going to want to test your equipment and prep your environment. So I always recommend doing a quick test run the day before the event so that you have everything in place. For me, I always have something to drink nearby. Glass of water is always important so you don't get caught. I turn off my phone, but I have my phone available just in case there's technical issues. I always write down. I always make sure, did they give me a particular link, a Zoom link that I have to get in and passwords? Do I have all of that handy? So make sure you have all that around you. You're going to test your camera and audio. Not every platform is going to require you to have to use the camera. And I'll talk some more about that, but I would test both. Have headphones ready if you like to use them. And then the most important thing, you're going to want a quiet location, and you especially want to make sure what's behind you. So if you were in my house right now, there would be a giant pile of laundry and dishes all over the place. It is not a pretty scene, but I do protect a space where I regularly will do all of my Zoom work. So that's all you need to do. You just need to make sure you have a place where you're not going to be distracted. And it's not just for you. The person looking at that room doesn't want to be distracted by what's going on in the background either. So a little corner where you can set terms of how to dress. So I don't know about you, but I have definitely changed what I've been wearing lately. I'm all about comfort. I might be wearing yoga pants right now. I don't know. I could have flip-flops on, but I made sure that from the top up, I'm looking professional. There's a number of reasons you want to do that. First and foremost, you gotta dress to perform the right way. If we get dressed in our pajamas all day long, we're comfortable, but we're really not ready to put our best self out there. Our brain is signaled that, hey, it's time to chill. We gotta relax. So talking to recruiters, if you're dressed a little too comfortably, is not going to work in your favor. So my rule here, just from the waist up, make sure you have something nice on. Prepare yourself so you look polished and presentable. It's going to bring the energy you need. It'll show confidence. If some have asked me, do I have to wear a suit and tie? I don't think it can hurt if you put on a dress shirt and a tie for these. I think it's important. Show that this is something you're excited about. And think again, if this were in person, how would I present myself? It's going to be the same type of mentality, and it will definitely enhance your performance. So definitely think ahead of time. What do I want to wear? Again, you have a little bit of security in terms of your pants. I think there's going to be a lot of guys out there wearing shorts and a dress shirt and tie, and that's okay. So no worries about that. Okay, so employers want you to engage with them. That's the whole point of doing this. We're putting out a virtual event because we want to interact with you. They're expecting you to take that and run with it. So whether you are having to provide responses written, maybe by text, because there are some apps that will use push notifications as part of the virtual event, or verbal, they're going to look to you, come to the event informed, curious, and asking questions. And that's why that research piece I mentioned was so important. Even though it might just be info session, you're still going to want to know, who am I talking to? What do I hope to get out of the session? Bring some questions. You're also going to want to make sure you use professional business communication. So watch out for slang or emoticons. If you are in a video call, you want the eye contact. You want to speak clearly. You want good posture. And you want to try to keep your hand gestures to a minimum. That is the hardest thing for me. I am flailing around when I communicate. My eyes are looking up, my hands go flying, very, very all over the place. And I literally have to hold my hands in my lap when I am doing a session so that people can see that I'm poised and under control. But just be mindful of it. Things look a little different on video than when you're in person. So try to keep everything poised. Have questions written down, and at the ready so that you can ask. That's the beauty of some of these virtual events. Even though you want to maintain that eye contact, you do get to have notes around you. So that's not such a bad thing. And then we're going to have the follow-up. once you're done talking with recruiters, you should ask them about next steps. Should you be applying online? Will they be scheduling an interview? Be sure to get contact information for each recruiter. Sometimes that information is readily available on the platform, or they'll share it. I know I have, through our social media channels for another organization, the recruiters will actually say, please reach out to me. Here's my email. They're sharing all that information and expect that you will do that. So take them up on that. But just as you would as an in-person event, you want to follow up to let people know you're interested. So within 24 hours of an event, send a targeted thank you note that reiterates your interest, just the same as if you would in person. Now, what I want to do, actually, we're good. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to bring you back into my video so we can talk a little bit more. What I want to talk to you about is the fact that not all these platforms are the same. So with some of them, you may be put in a situation where you're setting up your profile, you're doing an elevator pitch, and then recruiters will reach out to you through push notifications. Oh, I'll answer those questions too. Thank you so much for adding those. Be sure to put your questions in. I'll pay attention as they pop up, and we'll go back to those. When you are in a situation where there's push notifications, basically they've reviewed your resume, they've looked at your elevator pitch. Am I freezing on anybody? No? Are you freezing? Because I'm noticing people are freezing on me.
There's a slight buffer, but we can still hear what you're saying.
Okay, good. Let me know if it gets bad because I can see the messaging coming up. With the push notifications, you'll never get to that point where you're in a virtual career fair event as if you're booth to booth, as if you're at a booth talking to people. They're going to interact with you just through push notifications. And they'll send you a series of them. You'll respond back, and then they'll probably schedule a follow-up interview after that. So that's one type of virtual event. Another virtual event may be you're entering chat rooms. So you're going in, you see the career fair, you register for it, you set up your profile, resume, and then you may get email from recruiters who have reviewed all of your information and say, hey, please join us at such and such a time during the event. And when you go into the event, you'll enter a chat room, and that's how you'll do it. The chat room may or may not have more than one person. If you ever feel you're in a situation where you just want to talk to them one-on-one, it's okay to ask that. But be prepared. You may be brought into a situation where there's multiple people and you just join the conversation. Another type of virtual fair may be where they collect all of your information and they're never going to engage as if it were an event. They're simply going to review the information and then contact you for an interview. It's still a virtual career fair. They're just collecting resumes, and that's how they'll do that. And then I had mentioned the push notifications. Another one, maybe you just go in, you don't have any email, you just see it's a live event, you've registered, you go in during that time, and you'll just join whoever says that they're available online. If you see an organization you're interested in, you'll simply notify them that you're interested through the platform, and then the next thing you know, you're talking to them. So there's definitely a range of how this works. I want you to be prepared for any of those situations to happen. But the win is that you're connecting with employers. So any way that this can happen, just remember, they are setting up these events because they really want to be able to talk to you. It may take the form of you uploading and getting a review and reached out later as if you were applying online for a position, or it might be very, very interactive where you're going in. But make sure, review the platform. What is it in terms of the registration process and how the process will work? Definitely resume needs to be ready. I'd have an elevator pitch ready, and I would definitely know you are going to execute this just as if it was a live person event with really good follow-up. And I know we have a question already, so I'm going to take that one. But if you have more questions, let me know. Do we have a written pitch example for a virtual fair info session? Oh, never mind. You just.
Sorry, Michelle. I was typing. Yeah, you got to it right after I said that. I was just thinking that there might also be situations where it is important to think about what you're wearing below the waist. like, you know, as I have to get up to use the restroom a lot. If I don't put the camera on, you know, on video me.
Well, we've all seen the horror stories online of people who've gotten up during their work meetings and weren't really dressed appropriately. So here's a great tip. Crystal, if you were to turn off your video right now, do you have a photo that's in place, or is it just going to be your name?
I think it's just my, let's see, hold on just a second.
Yeah, just your name. Okay.
So it's my username. Okay.
So what I think everybody should do, and I just did this last week, I'm late to the game with this.
Yeah.
Get your photo uploaded to your Zoom account. And so so let me see if it'll actually, I'm logged into, it won't work, I don't think, for this one when I turn my video off. But when I'm in my own account, I have my photo up and it's much nicer. Now it is a little challenging. My middle guy is doing a lot of info sessions for colleges. He's in his college search. And so the poor guy, every time he goes in to do these info sessions, it's my picture. And they're always like, welcome, Michelle. And it's clearly like someone's mom is in on the college session. And he always has to come in and say, no, it's Jack, I'm here. And I keep saying, you need to be on video. You know, they want to see you so they can see your enthusiasm. But yeah, if you haven't already, with your own Zoom account, upload your photo. When you turn off your video, your nice photo will be there. And so it's just a little step up. That'll be helpful. If you can get dressed up completely, that's great. I'm giving people a little bit of breathing room. So I wouldn't do boxer shorts and a dress shirt and tie, but, you know, maybe you have running pants and a dress shirt and a tie. You know, use your discretion. But yeah, we're on Zoom so much that there have been times where I've had to run out of the room and sneeze or get some water. So you want to try to be as prepared as possible. But if you get your photo up there, stop your camera. They'll see your lovely face, take care of what you need to, and then you'll come right back in.
Yeah, and then my last question was, it was about when you follow up with a recruiter in an email or whomever, and you're sending a thank you note. Do you generally recommend uploading a resume with that, just so they don't have to search for your resume again?
So it's so interesting. Everything, I'm really trying to honor the shift we have going on right now with, and Joanne, you can weigh in with this as well, with your thoughts. You know, everything from we don't do handshakes anymore. There was an employer, you know, I talk about follow-up, right? It's so important to do. Last week when we were talking about Merck, the education career fair, I said, you know, make sure you follow up, but don't follow up with this particular district because they don't want you to follow up with them. They're overwhelmed right now. I think you should always, I think it's okay to send the thank you note. I think sending your gratitude, expressing your enthusiasm is important. Traditionally, I have said to people, don't include your resume unless it's been asked. That's been my best practice. For example, when I'm talking about candidates networking with alumni, I say, please don't be presumptuous. Ask them, may I share my resume with you? That's been how I've done that in the past. What I suspect is going to happen with these virtual fairs is that they're going to have a process. And usually what happens is you would formally apply. Maybe it's by invitation. You know, they get a chance to connect with you and then they say, this has been great, Crystal. We'd love for you to go online, go to School Spring and apply. So I think they're going to have a process for you to do the resume. And certainly if they ask, of course. But I'm trying to still maintain those protocols from before. What about you, Joanne? What would you do?
Well, whoops, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So one thing that I do suggest to students is when they name their document, their resume, put their first initial and their last name instead of just calling it resume, because this way, if the recruiter goes to retrieve and review resumes, your name will be in front of them again. So I don't know, I guess if I was going to be sending a resume along with a thank you note, I would say something in the thank you note to make it simpler for you to review my expertise and my background. I've attached a new copy of my resume for your convenience. But I'd have to say something like that, I think, in a thank you note.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's, we're all kind of trying to figure these things out together, sort of troubleshooting. Val, I'm going to unmute you.
Hi. Do you have any recommended resources for finding and locating these fairs and virtual sessions and events?
Oh my gosh, thank you. You have saved me in every webinar I've done. This is your second time. Yes, this is what I forgot the first time I presented with this. Handshake. Handshake is a great place to source. Because I actually, when I put this together a couple weeks ago, I'm like, I need to find virtual career fairs to recommend. They're popping up. They're definitely popping up. However, they are being advertised in places where they expect you to be hanging out, like Handshake, Facebook, right? You'll see things popping up where they're hoping to catch you. So follow the organizations you're interested in. Be on LinkedIn, on all the social media, Instagram. I am seeing it everywhere. They're trying to use social media channels to get to you, but Handshake would be fabulous, because if you go to, I believe, our events, anyone who's linked with us, connected with us, they're going to be promoting what's going on. So that's how you want to take advantage of that. So if that was, if I had to identify the first place I'd look at Handshake. What's going on Handshake for these events? But also make sure you're using your social media channels really effectively, because that's been getting a lot of activity as well. Yep.
And I think I would add, in terms of LinkedIn, if you follow companies or organizations that you are targeting to eventually apply for opportunities, whenever they post something on their LinkedIn page, it can come right to your homepage.
Yep. It's they're the busiest streets right now, they're all online. So you gotta figure out, and you don't have to be overtaxing it either. I was doing Google searches to see, and that's not an effective way at all. You really need to go where the companies are regularly putting their information. And I suspect this is gonna grow. So we're just April right now, May, and particularly for certain, we have somebody wanting to get in, hold on. For certain industries, if you're looking for education, then we know with budgets and things that need to happen, that may not be, that will be an evolving process. What you see in April and what you're going to see in June and July may look very different. But if you look at the hiring districts, hi there. I'm gonna unmute you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Are you here for the virtual career fair?
Yes.
Okay. So we are sort of on the tail end of it, but I'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one after too.
Oh no, I thought it started at 1:30.
No, it didn't. But I'm going to do an encore with you, so it'll be fine.
Oh no.
No worries. It's okay. We'll figure it out. We'll do a whole one for you after, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Notice if anything does show up right now, please know that this is like strike while the iron's hot. If they're posting that they've got an event, connect with them now and get that process going. And also realize, I do so many Zoom events. Having your questions, showing that enthusiasm, they're going to pay attention to those nonverbals, and it's going to expedite that process in terms of you connecting with them. So do everything you can. Think of it as if you're in the room with them on campus for one of these events, and take advantage of any opportunity you have to connect. Just be prepared. They all look a little different. So if you just remember the tips that I shared in terms of the different formats that it can come in, you're not going to be caught off guard. You'll know, oh, okay, she told me. Maybe they're going to use push notifications. Oh, she did mention. Maybe they don't want to meet with me, but maybe they'll contact me after. Val?
So I would love a copy of the PowerPoint you shared if possible. Can you just remind us of what your email is so we can request that from you?
Yeah, if I can remember it. Was it mhearn@framingham.edu?
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I will send this to, I will definitely send this to everyone. I know we went through it pretty quickly because I'm supposed to do it in 15 minutes. I'll send this to all of you so you have your tips. The best part is you're going to have that elevator pitch script. So you'll have that there. And your homework moving forward is to think about, how do I get my resume update, maybe get a session, some appointments scheduled with us. And at the same time, work on that elevator pitch. And just be paying attention now. Now that your eyes are open, they can't be closed. If you know that people are looking to connect with you, register for these events. And I would be happy to meet with folks. If you register for an event, but you're kind of checking it out and not sure what to expect, I'm more than happy to spend some time with you looking at the event too and see what I can share as far as prep.
Sounds great.
Any other questions? All right, so Megan, if you want to stay, it's a quick PowerPoint. I can run through it again if you want. I have time.
If you have time, that would be great. I think I got confused because I went to one on Wednesday and it was at 1:30, so I think I just forgot that it was at 1.
Nope, that's okay. I will run through it again with you. And let me type in. Should have done this earlier. I'm trying, guys. Fridays are the hardest day to work. National holidays from now on. No more Fridays or Mondays. Okay, so I have my email there for everybody. Happy to share the PowerPoint. Excited that, hopefully you can test out some of these products. I'd love to hear your feedback as you come across them. And again, any questions, let me know. And if you want to stay for the encore, you're welcome to, but you don't have to suffer through it. It's up to you, okay?
Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Okay. All right. Megan, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so you can stay unmuted if you want. It's a quick little review that I'll do here. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and then I'm just going to walk you through best practices. And then if you have questions, you can let me know. It's going to be pretty quick because it's a short. We're trying to not overwhelm. At the same time, we want to give some of the best tips we can. So as far as virtual career fairs in general, the framework for this is thinking about an actual career fair and at the same time maybe an info session. A lot of employers are advertising info sessions rather than a fair to connect with you. So I want us to be thinking about it both ways. So let me just share my screen. Can you see all that?
Yes.
Okay, let me just get back. Okay, all right. So in terms of thinking about a virtual event, I want you to think of it the same as if you've ever been to a regular career fair. Have you participated in any?
I went to one, I think it was the beginning of the year, just the one that was at FSU.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you went, did you do a little bit of prep work?
Not really. I think it was like the club fair, but it also had employers as well. And I'm part of marketing club, so I was kind of running the booth for that. So I wasn't really able to go to a lot of different tables, but
yeah, you had a lot going on. All right. Well, when you think about the virtual events, there's so much in common with the in-person events. You're going to want to do your research ahead of time. You're going to want to have a resume ready or application materials. You're going to want to have your talking points ready, how you introduce yourself, what you say, and then you're going to follow up after the event. So all of that is exactly the same as if it was a regular in-person event. As far as what might be a little bit different is the registration and review process. So with these platforms, you're going to want to register in advance. And I always recommend don't wait to the last minute. Do this ahead of time. At a minimum, you have to create a profile and upload your resume, but some might ask you to take an additional step to verify your email. So this is why you don't want to get caught right before an event is starting, kind of setting up, registering for the process and finding out, oh, now I got to wait to verify the email and then I can get in to finish. Others may ask you to opt in to a particular career fair. So it might be a platform that's hosting a number of events. You're going in, registering, and selecting, here's the particular fair that I want. It can vary.
Okay.
Some may ask you to record your elevator pitch. It might be required, it might be optional, but know that that could be part of the process. Some may ask for a cover letter. That doesn't always happen, but the employer may ask for that. Some may allow you to have different versions of your resume. So if you're thinking of an event where there might be a range of opportunities you're interested in, you would have targeted resumes for those positions. But the best part is that there's usually tutorials that are with all of these apps and platforms. So you don't have to panic thinking, how do I figure out how I'm going to go through this whole process? They will actually have a tutorial showing you all the steps. Here's how you register. Here's what the event will be like. And they probably have a frequently asked questions section so that you can troubleshoot along the way. So don't ever fear that you're going to be in over your head. The whole point is that they're going to provide that support for you. They very much will make it easy. I have yet to come across one that I couldn't figure out what I was doing, and I would not rate myself as super tech savvy. I get by. That's pretty much how I would classify myself. Now, in terms of being prepared, you're going to want to have a resume ready, just like you would if you were going to a career fair. A lot of times these recruiters are going to review your resume in advance. They want to see if you're a good fit for positions. So you want to have a resume that's updated and spotless, and that's where we can help. You can schedule an appointment just to be proactive and have that resume in good shape. If you're online and you see a virtual event come up on a Wednesday and you're like, oh my gosh, it's on Friday, I don't have my resume ready, we can very quickly help you get that in order, okay?
Okay.
The research will be a big part of this. So typically when you are looking at these virtual events, they'll probably provide a list of who's attending. So you can see these are the organizations that are going to be there or that are going to be collecting your information. When you're able to research the organizations, you get to make a better impression during the actual event. You get to show you're serious about your search, you get to show your enthusiasm, and you get to talk about what a good fit you are for positions when you know what you're talking about. So look at the list, see who would be there involved, and then think of those positions that you're most interested in or those organizations that you're interested in. At some point, you're going to have to use that elevator pitch. You're going to have to introduce yourself. Maybe it's a pre-recorded video. Maybe it's a chat session and you're going in and, you know, I could have, and I would never do this, but maybe you could come into a webinar and they say, hey, Megan, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then on the spot, you would be like, oh, okay, what do I say? You want to have this prepared. So even though you may or may not be interacting, some of these platforms may use push notifications, for example. There's no video. You still want to have it ready because you may be writing information about yourself. So with the elevator pitch, you want a quick selling statement that talks about who you are. What are your strengths? What are your qualifications? Why are you interested in the position? What can you bring? And how do your strengths and skills align with what they're looking for? I'm going to share a sample with you so you can hear what a good pitch sounds like, but you definitely want to have this prepared whether you're meeting in person or online. This is just something that's going to be a helpful way for you to be able to quickly talk about who you are and what you're looking for. So here's a sample pitch that I created. And bear with me, I'm just going to read it to you. Hello, my name is Sophia Student, and I am completing a marketing degree at Framingham State University. I'm interested in digital marketing and social media management and have helped coordinate several successful fundraising events on campus for the March of Dimes. I've also honed my skills through my internship position as a digital marketing intern at BJ's Wholesale Club, where I conceptualized new messaging concepts that would resonate with younger non-members. I enjoy applying my creativity, strong technical skill, and passion for innovation into my work and look forward to transferring these same skills to your organization. Now, if we were to pull out Sophia's information and insert you in what you're looking for, you would have your own elevator pitch. It's the same thing. There's your template. So once you know how it should sound, I think it's pretty easy to think, all right, how do I tailor this to myself? I will make sure to share this with you, so you'll have that template moving forward. But having this ready to go in any networking situation, be it in person or online, is definitely the best way that you can prepare.
Okay.
All right. So what's different when you're meeting online versus in person is you gotta have equipment involved. You're gonna test your equipment. You're gonna prep your environment. Do a little test run before the event. Make sure that it's gonna be smooth, logging in and what you need to do. Make sure your camera and audio are good. Have headphones. I always have a glass of water nearby. I have my phone turned off, but I have it ready just in case I have to troubleshoot or contact anybody or somebody needs to reach me. And then pick a quiet location. So what I was saying earlier to the group, that is, if you were in my house right now, you would see piles of laundry and dishes. However, I won't set up my camera where you can see that. You won't see that behind me. I'll have my safe space. So it's the same thing. When you're going into these events, they may have a camera, they may not, but you don't want to be distracting. You want the recruiter to just focus on you and not what's going on behind you. Okay? How to dress. So as tempting as it is to live in our pajamas right now, you're going to want to mix that up. You're going to want to change so that, most of all, you can perform better. When we're in our pajamas, we relax. Our brain gets the signal it's time to chill. So we're really not in a mode where we're going to be able to really perform well talking to recruiters. Your vocal tone will lack, your body language will be down, you won't necessarily have the energy. So you want to be presentable and professional, and I will give room for people. If you want to just do the waist up, you can do that. Yoga pants on the bottom, blouse on top, all of that's fine. For guys, you know, have a dress shirt and tie, maybe the jacket, but you definitely want to know that it's important to look polished and presentable. In terms of engaging with the employers, they're expecting it. They've put out a virtual event to meet you, and they want you to show up prepared. So they want you to be curious, have questions, be interested. They're going to expect you to be professional, so no slang or emoticons. Maintain that eye contact, speak clearly, have your good posture, try to keep your hand gestures to a minimum. That's super hard for someone like myself who uses her hands a lot. With videos, it looks even more exaggerated, so I tend to hold my hands in my lap so that I am a little bit more polished. And then maybe, you know, have your questions ready. So one of the beauties of video, even though you want to maintain that eye contact, you could have some notes nearby, and you could use those as a reference. But make sure you're able to ask the questions that you need to know to determine if these positions will be a good match for you. At the end, you're always going to follow up. So you can always ask the recruiter what would be the next step. Maybe they want you to apply online. Maybe they're going to have you schedule an interview. Get the contact information. Sometimes that's provided already for you, but maybe it isn't. So make sure you ask. And then reach out to recruiters within 24 hours. You're going to send them a thank you note that reiterates your interest. And, you know, email, obviously, you know, handwritten notes are fabulous, but everything is email. Everything's online now. So you just want to, you know, be able to, while they're fresh, you're fresh in their mind, talk about the fact that you appreciated their time and you're interested in the position. Now, what I want to do is talk to you about the different types of platforms, because they don't all look alike. Most of the time, you're going to go in, you're going to set up a profile. So it's your contact info, and they probably ask you to upload a resume. What happens is some platforms may simply have recruiters look at all the resumes, and then they'll send you an email saying, we'd like to talk to you, and they'll send you a link to connect with them online during the event. Perfect. Others may not, but they'll review your information, and they expect you to attend the event. You'll go in, and there's chat rooms. So you'll simply go into the chat rooms and introduce yourself and talk to them that way. You can always ask for a private one-on-one call if you want, but just be aware that that's how it'll work. There'll just be chat rooms that you enter, as if it's a booth that you're in a room with, right? Others, they're never going to have anything interactive. You're going to submit your materials to the career fair, and then they'll review them and maybe somebody will get in touch with you later. It's as if you're applying for a position. Others, there's no video, but they use push notifications. So you're doing a profile, maybe you do an elevator pitch video, you have a resume, and then at the time of the event, they engage with you through push notifications. So they'll ask you questions and you'll respond. Written responses back and forth. And maybe the next step after that will be scheduling an interview. So there's no one way. They're all going to be different, but you're going to prepare the same way. You're going to know ahead of time why you're interested in connecting with them. You're going to know how to introduce yourself, because either you're going to text it, type it, or you're going to say it. You're going to have a pitch ready just in case you can video it, which I recommend you do. They're looking for you to show your enthusiasm, and you'll have your resume ready. So nothing changes as far as how you approach the event. What's going to change is what it looks like as you're doing it.